Hello. Hello, hello. We are excited to get started. Let me message the girls, make sure they're ready to hop on. Hello. We have one human here. Hello, guys. Charla, Monica. Like, I have my dog here too. Hopefully she's good. See if we can get... Oh, there's Michelle. See if we can get it to work. It is like quite finicky, I guess. There you are. Hello. Let me turn you up. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good? Yay. Let's see if, let me look and see if Laura's on here yet.
Did you invite her or just wait for her to request?
Well, I think she has to be viewing for me to invite her. Oh, there she is. Okay. Let's see if we can make it work. I'm so proud of us, you guys.
We got it.
This is so good. Tonight is going to be so much fun. It is all about patterns and movement and creating the patterns and what works for old and what works for younger. And I'm really excited. These two ladies are just phenomenal music educators. So this is going to be so fun. Can you guys introduce yourselves really quick though? Michelle, do you want to start? I feel like Michelle's a little bit more of a familiar face in the group. She's been adminning for, I don't know how long, a while.
Yeah. So Laura and I are both piano players. That I will say. That's more of my strength. I'm really not so much of a singer, but I make do, and I do understand a little bit of theory. Something that I bring to the table is that I can play the dumb one. So if ever these, like Charla or maybe Laura, I don't know, if they ever start talking a little too technical, I can bring it down for us because I don't really do too technical. So that is a strength that I have. But I'm more into the education and the cognitive part of it because I am a speech pathologist, but piano player. So this primary music thing kind of is a nice blend.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. How about Laura? How about you?
Sure, yeah. Right now I'm the music leader in my ward, going on 4.5 years this time. I love this calling. I tell everyone it's my dream job. But I'm definitely a teacher at heart. I studied music education at BYU and was an elementary music teacher for a little while, and middle school choir, which was a really fun beast. You think primary music is fun. And piano teacher, and I just love the principles that Charlotte teaches because all the people in the room are engaged. The presidency in the back hopefully is even engaged, right? Everyone's engaged, and so the messages of these primary songs, which I love and hold so dear, really get deep into everyone's hearts and minds and their voices, which I love to sing. Obviously I taught choir, so it just is awesome to see that magic happen.
So fun fact, Laura and I went to high school together.
Yes, we did.
Junior high too. I don't remember when you moved
We
here.
moved in ninth grade, so down to Payson, Utah. We're Payson Lions.
Yep.
And this group actually
together.
We played soccer and we took AP music theory. Yep. And then this group just a couple years ago is what reconnected us. So it's kind of fun.
Grateful for Facebook. It's awesome. Yeah. Well, we're going to jump right in and get started. And what we've done is they've chosen 4 songs. Am I right? 4 songs? And they're each going to demonstrate some patterns for all 4 of the songs. And it's going to be great. The first song is Choose the Right. And I think we're starting with, I don't even know.
Laura.
With Laura.
Yeah. Look at the one that, not the handout one, the other one. And that
Oh,
will,
okay.
okay. The first one I shared you, if you can find that document.
Oh, I'll find the first
Okay.
one then. Oh, do you want me to share this doc right now in the chat?
If you want, it's not like so polished, but if you want.
Okay, I'll put it in there.
And it's
If
less
you guys want
polished.
to pull up the doc, they've created kind of like a little handout that you can follow along with if you want. I think it's pretty helpful to see too. So
It was more polished when Laura just did it. I'm also technology challenged, so I just added pictures of things which aren't as great. So maybe we'll fix that at some point. But it'll give you the
I
idea.
feel like you need to stop downplaying your strengths and your talents because I think you're pretty amazing. All right, Laura, you go. You're up.
Okay, choose the right. Let's take out our clapping hands and count with me to 8. Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. Was that 8? Let's tap our knees. In the right, the Holy Spirit guides. So I might do something like that with just their body. Then all my classes will have a bag with 4 different instruments in them. Senior primary loves when they have a bag of a bunch of instruments. They're, oh, okay. So 10 seconds, pick your instrument. Da, da. If it's junior primary, all the sunbeams will have the same thing. All of CTR will have the same thing. So everybody's got their instruments, and then we practice counting to 8. 1, 2, 3, and I point to which one we're on. And then we'll do it with the song, okay? So I'll demonstrate how that might look. I'm gonna start with my shakers. This is the real test. Can I switch all of them? Here we go. Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. Then I would point to drums. We're on to 8. In the right, the Holy Spirit guides. I think I'm singing the words wrong. Am I?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. And its light is forever shining o'er you. When in the right, your heart confides. Okay. Then after we'd finished the whole song and everybody's done their 8 throughout the whole song, then we can do a challenge and go to 4. Okay, now we're gonna count to 4. So watch, I'm gonna switch it faster. Choose the right, then drums. When a choice is placed before you, in the right, the Holy Spirit guides. And then we do the whole song. And then, okay, let's try 2 beats each. Ready? Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. And then if it's senior primary, we maybe even would do 1. Choose the right. And they love this. Okay, if you want to do another repetition, everybody switch instruments with your neighbor. 10, 9, switch instruments, do it again. So fun. They love this. You can tell them to sing when it's not their turn. I like to call this 8-4-2. And if you looked at that document, you can see it doesn't just work for this song. It would work for, I think I listed Nephi's Courage, the chorus of Iron Rod, not the verse. Don't try it on the verse. Different time signature. I Will Be Valiant, The Church of Jesus Christ. Those would be great songs for this year. It's a steady beat, a song that's strong, 4/4 time. They're moving, they're engaged. It's so fun. It keeps them on their toes because you're changing the number. I love that activity.
Okay, so when you're doing that, I have a question. Do the kids sing along or are you the only one singing?
It depends. If it's the first week we've done the song, they're probably not singing along. If we're reviewing it, it's getting closer to the program, they might know it and join in.
Yeah. And I loved the option to sing when it's not your turn. So if you have the eggs and the eggs are shaken, then you don't sing, but you get to sing on everyone else's turn. I think that's a great.
Or you could do the opposite. Sing when you're shaking.
Yeah.
Someone says, could you do that with Nephi's Courage? Yes, I tested it out.
Yep, that one would be a great one for Nephi's Courage.
And we have to remember too that singing is a task where we're reproducing something. It has to get in pretty deep first. We got to hear it a lot of times. We got to have many exposures to it before we're ready to reproduce it and recreate it. So that's good. That's actually when the children have a chance to take it in, they'll start outputting it when they're ready, which is different than when we post the words and they can almost automatically output, but they're not really learning it. It's just in and out and it's too passive. So there is a shift that has to happen. So yeah, it will feel like solos at first, but that's how they're going to take it in. So that's just something you get used to. That's okay.
Yeah. Laura, really quick, can you give me like the first verse of Nephi's Courage with this method?
Sure.
Maybe
I'm
like just
gonna
like 8.
point here because I think this was too much for
Oh
my
yeah,
brain
totally.
to grab the instruments.
That's great.
Okay, so if you want to try this with a song, turn on your recording on your Tools app and then just count to 8. You don't have to worry about the words. Just count to 8. Okay, here we go. The Lord commanded Nephi to go and get the plates from the wicked Laban inside the city gates. Laman and Lemuel were both afraid to try. Nephi was courageous. This was his reply. Perfect. We did the whole verse, and that was 888. Then, because 4 is divisible, 8 is divisible by 4, you can easily do it with 4 or 2.
And I just did this the other week, and I just I just yelled out or held the fingers. You don't even need anything printed. You can just be like 8, 4, 2. Like you can really do it in the moment.
You can go like this.
Yep. You don't need any prep, really.
I love that.
Super easy activity.
I've never done that one, so I'm gonna try that one out. I think
it's fun.
I have to stud later this month, and that might be a great one for that. So, yay! I love it. Michelle, you were gonna show us a pattern for Choose the Right with sticks. Am I right? Rhythm sticks.
Okay, so here's my pattern for Choose the Right. So what I would maybe start off doing is something like a shoulder cross type of thing. Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. In the right, the Holy Spirit guides. What I want you to do is chopsticks when we get to the rhyming words. So they're just like nice and parallel, right? And its light is forever shining o'er you. When in the right your heart confides, because there's the other rhyming word, right? Okay, so that's like the basic version. That's getting them to like kind of feel the beat of the song. And then what you can do is then after they demonstrate it with their imaginary sticks once, then you can pass out the sticks and they can get used to doing it. And then they can grab a partner. So the pattern with the partner, instead of being shoulders, it's going to be more like a patty cake thing. You know how with patty cake, you're kind of like across, kind of like that? You're going to do that with sticks. So this is obviously for senior because wouldn't work so well to do this with junior. But you can still do the freezing, the chopsticks on the rhyming words, right? Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. In the right, the Holy Spirit guides. And that's a good opportunity for them, maybe if they're just learning the song, to just sing those words, just those rhyming words. You could maybe write those on the board and they could just sing those. Or if they know it more, challenge them maybe not to sing those words, which is a fancy principle of audiation, which means they're saying the word in their head, which is even better for them, okay? And its light is forever shining o'er you when in the right your heart confides. Okay, now here's the part that I like. I'm gonna have to stand up for this. So we're gonna go lap, cross, and then like a high five. Choose the right, choose the right. This is my very favorite, leg slides. Let wisdom mark the way before in its light. So that the high five is like they're doing high fives with their partner. Choose the right, and God will bless you evermore. I don't know why leg slides are so fun, but they just are. I love them. The kids love them. The adults get a kick out of them. So I think that's pretty fun. Now, junior, you wouldn't be able to do this with junior. They just need
Can I read one of the comments? She said, I could see junior primary losing an eye with this activity.
Yeah. So, okay, so junior, let's move on to junior. It would just be more like 8 taps over here, right? For the verse. And then maybe 8 taps over here. And then maybe when we're talking about, let's see, there's like a word in the song. Because there's 2 ways you can do patterns. You can just do, straight patterns, or you can make them sometimes fit the words of the songs a little bit. Choose the right when a choice is placed before you. Switch. In the right, the Holy Spirit guides. Oh, this part. And its light is forever shining o'er you. It's like the sun, right? And then you can put it to your heart. When in the right your heart confides. Oh, we did it to our heart when we were singing about the heart, right? Okay, now this is a little risky too, but it's different. if we're only doing the same thing with sticks all the time, it can get a little bit boring. So this is different, but also risky. So if you see problems, stop it. But this is a little challenging because it's like a hammer move. So they might miss a little bit. You might want to modify it to this, but you know, give them a chance. Choose the right, choose the right. Let wisdom mark the way before. And it just, you know, you can switch however often you think they're ready. I added a scraping though, so it's kind of like the first one, so that when the older ones are like leg sliding, if you're doing junior and senior at the same time, the younger ones are kind of doing like a scraping motion to choose the right, choose the right, let wisdom mark the way before. If you think they can handle it, right? But if this is too tricky, maybe go for this. So it's just what you think your primary can handle. You want them to be able to have a lot of variety, right? So we don't want to always give them scarves. We want to be able to try to do other things if possible.
Yeah. That's really, really fun, Michelle.
Love it.
Can I point out something about, because I was not with you when you came up with this plan, but in the chorus, you had one action for the first phrase of the chorus, and we have all of these like definitions in this handout. Okay, so here's your first phrase. Choose the right, let wisdom mark the way before. Okay, so that sounds one way. The second, oh no, wisdom is when you switched, right? So it was like, choose the right, then you switched. Let wisdom mark the way before. Okay, then the next phrase, even though the words are different, it sounds the same. In its light, choose the right. So she did the same movement on both of those phrases, and then the last phrase was the same as the second phrase. And God will, so then you did the same movement there. So you consider that when you're coming up with these patterns, like, okay, is there a phrase that's similar to another phrase that I can just repeat the same thing?
It's like the question answer that we talk about in piano teaching and things like that. That chorus is built into a question. The music asks its question, and then the music answers the question, and it ends and nicely resolves beautifully.
Yeah.
So yeah, and definitely those two questions, they parallel each other except for right at the end, and that's why it works so well to do repeating patterns like that.
And me, who knows very little about music theory, but I do go to a Zumba class every now and then, and I've noticed teachers that just do like a variety of quick moving patterns, like I cannot follow them, but yet I can go to a class for the first time of a teacher that's predictable, and it's because they do this. It's like, well, we did 4 counts of this and 4 counts of this, and we went back to 4 counts of this. And then we just repeated that block. So it's predictable. Mm-hmm. And Laura was just telling me the other day, like, there was a little boy that said, oh, I got the pattern, which is, that's what you want. You want them to be like, I got it. You don't want them to just be like blindly following you. By that second or third time, you want them to be able to come up to the front and like lead it. Yeah. Maybe they'll need a little help, but if it's predictable enough, but also challenging enough, right? Oh, I was, you know, another, if you didn't want to have the kids do partners for this one, choose the right, when a choice is placed, I kind of did a lot in here. It leaves room for like a choose the right, when a choice is placed, be, hold, and toss. You know, like if you're brave and if you trusted them, you really could do something tricky. And also, if I'm demonstrating that, I just use pretend ones, by the way, because I will drop them. But like, you know, you want it to be challenging, but also predictable. So it's just kind of a tricky balance sometimes. You just play with it.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a sweet spot. If it's too easy or too hard, you're going to lose their attention. It has to be challenging, but not so challenging that it's completely overwhelming. And that's why combined primary is really difficult when you're leading patterns like this. So yes, totally. You guys have been asking really great questions, by the way. So good job.
If we don't answer it now, we'll try to go back and some of you are answering each other's. That's good.
Yeah, and thank you for answering each other's questions. I really appreciate that. Catherine is so good at that. So thank you. Thank you. There's one question. I have a problem with my primary where if I try to explain the activity beforehand, I lose them. Do you guys just go and hope the kids catch up? Or do you start and say, okay, we're going to take out our sticks and then we're going to tap them on our legs. And then next we're going to Going to.
No, we're going to. They don't need to know. They don't need to know. That's part of the challenge, is they can watch you. They will be so much more engaged if they watch you. Now, it's not going to be perfect. I still have issues in my primary, right? And I talk like this much. We get to 4 or 5 songs every week. We talk so little. There's still issues, but you just have to go. They will. And as far as like catching up, do it without the manipulative, then pass it out. You know, there has to be a little bit, but my teachers know, my presidency knows, as soon as I say, okay, get the manipulative, the presidency runs up to the front and it's like all hands on deck, everybody's passing out, and then boom, we start. Sometimes I'll do something like if it sticks and I'm worried about, I'll say like, put them like this, or like hold it on your head, you know, once you have it, or shake it as fast as you can, freeze, you know, do a little activity until everybody, if you're worried about it, but no explaining.
Find that if I encourage the children to do what I know they want to do in a controlled way, it helps me keep them in line. So if it's egg shakers, what do they want to do the minute they get their egg shakers?
Shake it.
They want to shake it as fast as they can. And so as soon as everyone gets it out, that's what we do. We shake it, and then we practice cutting. I practice cutting them, which actually really translates to when we perform, because they follow my cuts exactly. They know to watch me, and they know what this means. So anyway,
so
it's not, I think
not
just a little bit more about handing out and passing out and passing in a little bit. But let's go on to our next song. The next one is I Love to See the Temple. Is that still right?
So Angie, just before we move on, that's not just a problem with her primary. That is global. That's universal. So you will always lose children if you try to explain. They just want to do it. So just start doing it, and they will jump in. They will never listen to instructions. My primary also, they rely on me to kind of do the attention getting, rather than saying, okay, everyone be quiet, blah, blah, blah. No one's listening. Words don't work. If we just start doing something and singing, then once we stop, either if we stop in the middle, if we stop at the end, then we have them. And that's so much easier than a person trying to manage the behavior of 40 kids. So you just got to jump in and do it when you're doing your singing time, and every other time the presidency wants you to just like get their attention when it's time for the scripture, or it's time for whatever. You know, it's a great skill. It works in every setting, actually. So you might need to pull it out in Relief Society one day. You never know.
I feel like all you have to say is, here's the pattern, and then just start going, you know, like your hands follow my hands, and just start going. Like that is all the instruction that they really need. And they're doing it first without the manipulative, and then you give it to them later. And that also helps with hearing instructions if they don't have sticks in their hands when you're trying to you know, tap, 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 leg slide, you know, they can hear that a lot better. All right, so let's jump into I Love to See the Temple. We're going to start with Laura again.
Where's your imaginary egg shaker? I might say to junior primary. I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray. Freeze. Switch hands. Do your hands look like my hands? You know, you can ask these kinds of questions to make sure they're with you. And then once they've got it down, I'd say, okay, let's get your egg shakers passed out. This is a junior primary pattern, by the way. 5, 4, the chaos, da 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 da. Shake your egg up high, freeze. Shake it behind your back, freeze. Okay, tap it on your shoulder. Here we go. I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray. Once we've done that, I've called out freeze, we're switching, whatever. Then I might say something like, okay, can you sing all the words when you freeze like this? I love to see the... And sometimes I will not sing to see if they know it. And sometimes a kid will just shout it out, temple! Yes, can you sing that with me? I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray. Okay, so that might be my pattern. Junior primary, coming up with ways to repeat the song is so easy for junior primary. Let's do it again. They will be happy. Switch hands. They will be happy. I need some leaders. They have no clue. They don't know the pattern at all. They're like, half the kids come up. Come on up. I stand in the back. I do the pattern with them. Turn and face the back. So many simple ways to just repeat the song for junior primary, which is what they need. If these songs are going to get into their hearts and minds and voices, they need to hear it over and over and over. But also watch the clock. You know, after 5 minutes, they're ready for something new. So anyway, be careful in a song like I Love to See the Temple. There is that little fermata towards the end, okay, where we pause. If you don't know what a fermata is, you can look at the definitions there on the last page. But also, it's that pause at the end. Da 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 da. That might be a good way to practice holding it. They get to shake it, and then you can show them when to stop. You can work on that. Do it again and stop. Make sure everyone stops together, and then continue the pattern.
Can you finish that, Laura? So after they go, I'll prepare myself while I am young. Now, how do you get back into the pattern?
Right back into it. This is my, no, it's junior primary. Sorry, I'm thinking of the senior one. Hold on. Da, 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 da. This is my sacred duty. You end with a freeze.
Sometimes that's tricky, getting back in once.
Yes, it is. Especially in a song like this, which has a pickup note. It starts with I love is the strong beat. So you have to start on love to do the pattern. I love to see. It does not work to go, I love to see the temple. And you'll feel off if it's, you know, if you're doing it that way. I have a more complicated one for senior that's in there. You might do something like, I won't do the whole thing, but like something like, I love to see the temple. I'm going there someday. Switch hands to feel the Holy Spirit, to listen and to pray. Switch hands. You could come up with some sort of passing thing in a circle, like on that freeze, switch hands part. That could be really fun.
And what I love about what Laura was just demonstrating with the egg shakers is that she did a lot of midline crossing. So we have a mixed group here. We're now over 9,000 people in this Charlotte Dance Teaching Methods group. So some people are so familiar with crossing the midline, they're probably sick of hearing about it. And that's like everything we do has to do with crossing the midline. And then some of you might just be like, oh, I just joined at the beginning of the year. So crossing the midline is this magical thing that happens when you're crossing left to right, or up to down, or front to back. That's what wakes up, that's what really engages the brain. That some really amazing things happen developmentally, and just great brain things happen when we're crossing the midline. So when we're doing patterns, we'll do less of like nose and tummy. It's more like shoulders and knees, because we always want to reach across. If
it also just feels more more natural to do that than to try to do that. But you know, mix it up.
Our brain and our bodies, they want to do that, right?
Someone says, do you still do patterns and movement activities after they know the song? Yes, yes, yes. I mean, definitely you can give them chances to just sing also. Might come up later, but we were talking the other day about how to pass in manipulatives, how to pass them out, how to pass them in. And one thing I've started doing recently is, as we're passing it in, okay, let's sing it again. And this time they're not distracted by all the movements, so then they can just sing it. Okay, put away your egg shakers and let's sing the chorus again. So they're putting it away and we sing it one more time. And that can be another way to practice, but absolutely have them move.
I've done the counting down for a long time. And after Laura told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's just so brilliant. It's just such a reverent way and a great way to get an extra repetition and keep the spirit. And I just thought that was brilliant. So I'm totally stealing that.
Yeah, either one works.
My new way to pass in. Love it. Do we have, Michelle,
No.
you don't have one for I Love to See the Temple,
you know
right?
what? We just planned too much, but so we're just gonna move on to Easter Hosanna.
Okay.
But I guess one more fun thing is that just a lot of our songs are, the strong beats are grouped more in groups of 4, so we can do more like the 8, 4, and 2 patterns that have groups of 8, 4, and 2. 8, 4, and 2. But this I Love to See the Temple is more of a 3, so you want the 1 to be strong. So what were you doing, Laura? You were going like 1, 2, 3, right?
I was on the junior primary. I was going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then on senior, I was doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 1, 2. So group the patterns in ways
Yeah.
that match the meter or the time signature of the
Right.
song. Good point.
So if you were going to do plates to that one, you would maybe do something where you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, anything that's kind of emphasizing the 1 and not so much the 2 and the 3. Okay, so plates for Easter Hosanna, the one that I feel like nobody knows because I had to learn it this year. But okay, I couldn't decide. This is the problem that I have. I do too much and I want to squeeze in too much and I can never decide. So I'm just going to show you a couple different options for this one. So I like to go to the side for some of these. So this is like a swishing, and then we're gonna freeze on some of the words. So the prophecies of long ago are now at last fulfilled. When Jesus risen from the dead to man himself revealed, as he came down from heaven above, white robed and glorified. These are the rhyming words too, and you could have them say them in their head or only say these if they don't know the song very well. The people of the promised land received their Lord and cried. I feel like this part calls for a drum roll because something exciting is going to happen. Okay, so for this chorus, we're going to do like a rainbow, but kind of a shimmery, jazzy rainbow because it's so exciting. Hosanna, and then little swishes. Blessed be the name of the Most High God. Then back the other way. Hosanna, blessed be the name of the Most High God. And you can make it as fancy as you want. Back to your legs. So what we're doing there is just the rhythm. The swish is just matching the rhythm of the words at the end because it's such a cool part. Now, what I was going to say about this one is that when I first started making up patterns, I just would do kind of random things. And then I realized, well, Charlotte's patterns were always so much better than mine. And then I finally realized after a few years, it's because hers really fit the words to the song. And I was like, oh, that's like the next level of pattern making. And so I was going to give an example, so for I want to be a missionary, I would just do something like tap, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, tap, freeze. Tap, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, tap, freeze. And just put it with, I want to be a missionary now, or what, and it's fine. Any kind of pattern is better than none at all, probably. But then it doesn't really fit the song very well. You're sometimes doing these extra taps when nothing's happening. So I was going to use this as an example, and then I discovered that actually fits really well with this one because that's actually kind of how the song is laid out. So if you did a swish, swish, tap, 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 swish, swish, hold, it actually goes really well with the song. So don't use it on I Want to Be a Missionary now, but use it on this one. The prophecies of long ago are now at last fulfilled. When Jesus risen from the dead to man himself revealed. See how that fits so nicely? Mm-hmm. As he came down from heaven above, white robed and glorified, the people of the promised land received their Lord and cried. So, and then same thing for the chorus. So you could see how I have so much trouble deciding what to do because I really like that. Another way to do it would be more of this pancake flipping action. Same thing, flip, flip, tap, 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 flip, flip, freeze. The prophecies of long ago are now at last fulfilled. Now go back the other way. When Jesus risen from the dead to man himself revealed. And then you could do the whole thing going up. As he came down from heaven above, white robed and glorified. And then go down. The people of the promised land received their Lord and cried. And then back to what we did before. So
there's another fermata on cried. And so you want to do something there. Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
Those are
Can I say something about paper plates? I have this brilliant new I get to do this calling with another person the whole time I've had it in this ward. And she's only been in since I think June, and already she's like got all these great things. But one of them is she noticed that junior primary, when they're holding paper plates, she's like, they're so big for their little hands. I had never thought of that. So we have 2 sets of paper plates, and the junior primary gets little ones, and it's just so much easier. Same thing with cups. We have regular cups, and we have these tiny itty bitty cups for our junior primary. She just thought of that, and I'm like, thank you, Sandra. You're brilliant. I love you.
That is so cute.
Just a little tidbit.
We had one question for Michelle is, do you post pictures of your pattern on the board, or do you just verbally just like demonstrate the pattern and have them follow you?
I love to do something on the board, mostly to help myself. And so it's like, if I'm going to write something in my notes, I might as well just write it on the board. And so I do like to do that. And I also think it's visually intriguing, which was one of the categories that, it's like, when you see stuff like this, even the adults are like, what in the world are we going to be doing? And then as it makes more sense to them, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. So you can do both, just depending on your own needs. If it's helpful to you to have it on the board, either way.
Yep, totally.
I like that.
One question here is, with a combined primary, how do you make this work? We've kind of talked about this. Sorry.
Michelle's gonna say, just split your primary.
I was just kind of joking, kind of.
I'm gonna say, I know that doesn't always work. So being in for 4.5 years, we've had 3 different presidencies, and there was one that really wanted them to be combined. And it was kind of like we were coming out from the pandemic, and people were kind of slowly coming back to church anyway. So, things like that. There's reasons, right, where you do it combined. In general, I kind of have to just like teach a little bit higher, and junior primary was just like excited to hold something. And so we'd start with something simple, and it kind of became like a joke with the senior primary. Like they knew that something else was coming, but they had to start out doing this. And then they'd say, oh, that's too easy. Okay, well, you guys on the front couple rows, you keep doing that. Let's try something a little, trickier.
Yeah.
So, do your best.
Yeah, and you can always bring up a leader or your pianist or a presidency member or someone to continue to lead the younger ones while you move on and try to reach the older ones too. It is tricky. And one way, I know you said the first few rows, I've heard, I've never spent a lot of time in a combined primary, but I have spent some. But I think if I was there consistently, I would have the younger kids sit on one half of the room and the older kids sit on the other half of the room.
Put it down the middle.
And that way, when it's time to lead 2 groups, they're already kind of in place for that. So anyway, and you can do the same thing. Like if you have a logic thing on the board, you can have puzzles on one side and, a melody map or a color code or something on the other side. So
I really think you kind of have to cater to the bigger kids, because like Laura said, the little kids, they might think they're doing the tricky thing with the egg shaker, and that might be good enough for them and they're hearing the song, whereas the older kids are gonna be so bored if you're just doing lame things with. So when it comes to these tools or these manipulatives, I say cater to the older kids. But then if the older kids have done something fun, they might be more willing to just hang with you for 2 minutes while you do like a magic paintbrush for the little ones. Maybe if they need it, the little ones might not need it because they might feel like they're totally engaged. But yeah, it's just
definitely tricky. I feel for y'all who have a combined primary. That would be another level of difficult. So sorry about that. Laura, you have a ribbon one pattern for Easter Hosanna, is that right?
Yes. I have such a hard time remembering the words to this song. So this is one where I would come up with a pattern that's somewhat rhythmic, but also more like actions. Like I might do something like, okay, the prophecies of long ago. So I'm going to start over here. The prophecies of long ago are now at last fulfilled. Go forward and back. So we're prophecies and they're fulfilled. When Jesus risen from the dead, to man himself revealed. The cool thing about this is it also follows the melody. Da, 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 da. So Jesus is risen and he reveals himself to the people. And then I might be up here. As he came down from heaven above, white robed and glorified. So you might like go around your face. And then the people of the promised land, I'm pointing them out, received their Lord and cried. This is ASL for Lord. You do an L and you cross your chest. And so it might help the kids on the song like this to, I love Michelle's idea to have the rhyming words kind of stand out, or to do something like this where you're doing actions. And then the chorus is so contrasting. Hosanna, you want to do something, triumphant. So maybe you draw circles over your head. Hosanna. And then blessed in sign language was this, blessed. So I would do kind of imitate that. Sometimes I'll look up ASL to give myself inspiration. Blessed be the name of the Most High God. Hosanna. Blessed be the name of the Most High God. And God in sign language is here. So we can end here. So a song like this, where I'm every week struggling with the words, I'm also noticing, okay, we've worked on this song a couple times and my singers are having a hard time with that Most High God. The first one's different, of the Most High God, and the second one's of the Most High God. We stay on the same pitch. So something that can help them with that. You're thinking of all these ways to, influence your creativity.
Because if you did Most High God and then Most High God, that would help yourself remember. I mean, that helps me remember, right?
That's
so
good.
Maybe it helps the kids, right?
That's really
I always
good.
think it's really interesting that the best way for me to memorize a song is to plan to teach it. If I'm looking at a song and thinking, okay, what are we going to do for this? Whether it's making some kind of a code or a map or making a pattern or coming up with actions or learning the sign language for it, that is how I memorize the songs. And so I love that Lars uses the way she uses her actions and her patterns to help memorize the words too. So that's awesome. That's a question we get asked a lot, is how do I remember the words? And for me, really, it's just planning singing time and just having those words just continue to flow through your mind throughout the week when you're thinking about them. So yay.
This might be one where oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm done.
I was going to say, this might be one where I do have like symbols for the pattern on the board, because every single phrase I did something completely new and different.
Yeah, it wasn't really repetitive. Right. You're right. So that would be a really good one to have a pattern map on the board.
Yeah. Or you can have it mixed up for senior primary and
mixed up. I like that idea. That sounds fun. Our next song that we're going to do is When I'm Baptized, and we're going to start with Michelle.
Okay. So I'm going to do a scarf. I just realized I forgot to bring a scarf in here, but my husband has Kleenexes in his office, so that's perfect. Okay. So this is one of these songs I think is every year. I think we never get a break from this one. And so I just always do the same pattern. I think, and I think Charlotte even has some videos of maybe this. I don't even know. It's like a part of me now. It's like, if I think scarves, this is what I think of. So first, rainbow. And this would be junior primary, primarily because we don't use these for senior primary, except like maybe every once in a while if it's like the miracle or something really cool. But for the most part, junior. So rainbow first. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain. Now the earth, a circle, and ponder on the beauty of an earth made clean again. We're going to do like water, like a river down below, like a squiggle. I want my life to be as clean as earth right after rain. And we're going to do like a wind up to a toss. I want to be the best I can. I think a scarf would fall slower, right? I want to be the best I can.
Another one of those for modest. Continue.
And live with God again. Just kind of like a looping up to God. Then I'd like to bring it to my heart too. And live with God again. So that's kind of what I do. And the kids, they love the tossing, and the scarves are a lot easier to toss than these. So, and safer. So, and I just love that when you do that, that is emphasizing, I think that's the best part of the song. What my takeaway from that song is I want to be the best that I can. And there's really no better way to emphasize that than to toss it in the air like you really mean it, right? So I love that one.
I love it. I have a request. Can you teach everyone what magic crayon is?
Well, I saw that question. Michelle, just do your same actions, but with magic crayon. I think it works.
You could just do the same thing, magic crayon, because it's just something for writing. So you could first draw the rainbow. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain. Now make the earth and ponder on the beauty of. And so you could do that. I think crayon, we tend to do more pictures, pictures and shapes. Whereas the magic paintbrush, which I have over here in my other hand, that can be more like, I think of that as just like flow, like we're just painting a surface. So let's start facing this direction, right? And just go up and down. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain. Okay, let's get this wall over here. Then everyone switches to this wall and ponder on that, and then do this wall. And then maybe we do the ceiling. I want my life to be as clean as earth right after rain. I think we need some polka dots over here. I want to be the best. Do you do that with a paintbrush? Probably not. But something, and probably not like this, but I don't know. Maybe like this. That's less violent. But just something where you can do dots, or you can do like more swirly, just some kind of actions that are going with some like either rhythm or word, some kind of flow of the song. So it's just to keep those younger kids kind of engaged and moving. Too boring for older kids.
And don't forget the
I feel
poof.
like this is one you have to kind of sell. You have to sell it. Or else they're just gonna look at you like you're crazy. I mean, and maybe we are, but
you have to actually
you have to sell it.
Laura's right. You have to actually go through the process of taking your magic crayon out of your pocket, thinking of the color that you want. Think of the color you want. 1, 2, 3, poof. Okay, you got the color? Let's go. And then you can switch the color halfway through the song, right? You can do all kinds of.
Mine is purple
sparkly
polka dot rainbow stripes. Mine is rainbow glitter with zebra. Like,
Yes.
and just you have to be kind of silly with it. But
and
I have noticed it.
On the count of 3, tell me your color. 1, 2, 3, and sparkle rainbow pink. Glitter, whatever.
And then you have the one kid that's mine, black. Black. Oh, okay, yay, that was great. Laura, do you have a cut pattern for that one?
Okay, so we wanted to do songs for February, was it January and February or February, March, something like that. So we had When I Am Baptized. Yeah. And I was just sitting here with my cup and I'm going, I couldn't get it to work. And sometimes that happens. So let me tell you a little bit about my creative process. I will choose usually one song a week that has movement, especially with the manipulative. I might do one with the manipulative and then one without, but only one a week. So I'll look at my list of what I've done the last few weeks and I'll go, oh, okay, I did, I haven't done cups in a while. Let's do cups with, and then I pick a song of what's going to fit. And so we thought When I'm Baptized, and I just could, I'm sure someone on here could come up with something, but I just couldn't. And so I that's another thing. It's okay. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't fit, do something else. And you know what I think does fit a little bit better? And I didn't come up with one, but I just in thinking, I thought, okay, maybe something like this. These are pool noodles if you haven't seen these cut in half. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain, right? Something like that. And ponder on the beauty. I just feel like that fit better than a cup. But I did use a cup a few weeks ago for Search, Ponder, and Pray, and I thought it worked really well. My senior pattern was, here's the pattern. Pat, tap, tap, switch. Pat, tap, tap, switch for the verse. And this one has a pickup note. I love to read this. So you start on love. I love to read the Holy Scriptures, and every time I do. And then the chorus was something new. So I'd say, freeze, here's the pattern. Pat, switch, tap, hold, hold, The chorus goes, search, no, it was search, ponder, and pray are the things that I must do. And then I had them sing after we did it through. Sing all the words that happen on your shoulder. Search, ponder, and they sing it. This is a good one where you can say, okay, let's do it faster. That's another way to add repetition. Search, ponder, and pray are the things that I'm, and they love, senior primary loves to go faster. Obviously that wouldn't work for junior. And the guideline that we get from Charla is that junior needs to do the same thing for several beats in a row. They can't be going back and forth. So as you're planning, you might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you have a ton of sunbeams, they might even need 8 beats or 6 beats, longer. And then you can throw in freezes in there to help them catch up because they're going to get behind the rhythm pattern.
Well, sometimes it takes them all the way to the 8 to actually get to the right spot.
On their body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're still figuring out how am I going to hold the cup. But I'm telling you, junior primary, this was a game changer for ours. They're tiny plastic ones too, so they're a little more durable.
I like with the cups too. The idea is, luckily my husband has this glass cup right here. I don't recommend glass. For sure do the little solo cups, but like, you just get into the like knee, hand. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain, switch. And they just do this for a while until they can build up to, I want my life to be as clean as earth right after rain. Like whatever Laura was doing with the tap and the switch or whatever. And you just kind of work up to it. You can also always do maybe not the full on. I feel like most people that are primary music leaders probably know that cup song, right? That was in the movie. And we all did it at girls camp. Maybe some of us did at girls camp, but not the tricky part, but the clap, clap, 1, 2, 3, clap my cup. That part is pretty good on anything, pretty much. I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain. And I feel like I'm always like, I'll teach you the harder part next time, but I don't think we ever get to the harder. We never get to the harder part, right? Where we pass and do that. But just watch that movie. What is it? Pitch Perfect? Then you'll know.
I don't know if I would recommend that one. In this
we did it first at girls camp before that movie ever came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, doing it for years.
You could do a passing if you sat in a circle. You could do a passing with just what you came up with. Pass.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yep.
Yes.
And you could even simplify it. I mean.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't have to be quite as complicated. One quick question about cups. Do you sit while you teach a cup pattern, or do you stand?
Oh, me?
Just in general. It's just
like as the teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would probably grab a chair, and unless I've got like a big primary, then I would, and they need to see in the back, grab a chair and sit down.
Because you can use your body, you can use your lap. But sometimes you can have the kids turn around and kneel so that they can use their chairs as like a tabletop. If I'm doing that, I do one of two things. Then I need to bring my table to the back of the room because then they're facing the other way. So I bring my table to the back so that I can, demonstrate or whatever. That reminds me, the one time that Charlotte came and visited my primary, I actually was planning to do a cup, and I think I actually had her be my table. And so she has so many skills that I kind of feel bad about that after. But I had her do some other amazing things too. But I did have her be my table for that moment, and that was really effective because I didn't have to move the table all the way back. I could just, and she was so willing to do that. She can do all this better than any of us, and she was willing to be my table. How's that for humility, you guys?
Mary Poppins, practically perfect every way. Oh, we love you, Charla.
I love that story.
Oh, that's so cute. Are those all the songs we had planned?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you guys, and we kept under an hour. Well, I think we have a few more things that we wanted to talk about. So let's talk about some strategies for passing things out, passing things in. How many manipulatives, I think we've kind of mentioned this a few times, do you use per week? I've seen some people talk about using 2 or 3 different sets of manipulatives, which I think that would be really challenging. So I want to hear what you guys do.
I only like to pass usually one thing out per week.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2, but usually just 1.
Yeah.
There's so many other things you can do with your hands, with actions, with visual things. It depends how big your primary is too. So if you're passing out to 50, if you're giving it to the teachers and they're in the routine, it's not too bad, but it just depends how much time you have.
Yeah, so I like to have, you can get like 2-gallon size Ziploc bags for some of the big manipulatives, and I like to have them under each, like a bag under each row. And so when it's time to pass out, they already have them, they're already ready to go. I do count down from 10. I feel like that's really helpful. Sometimes I have to do some half counting at the end. if it's something where they have to have like 2 of something and it takes a little bit longer, then it'll be 2.5, 2, you know.
Yes.
1 3/4, just so we can all get there, and then just jump right into it. Or if I've got sticks, I'll have them rub the sticks together and freeze, or I'll have them tap the sticks on their legs and freeze, and I feel like, and then I can bring them right into the pattern, which I think is really fun. Charlotte says, be careful with passing activities. Oh, like the cut passing activities.
Yeah.
Because their developmental level might not be ready yet. And yes, that is true. Don't do passing or partner activities with junior. It would be disastrous. It would be a hard
I have done a couple of really simple partner things with them, and they do even as simple as just doing the pattern facing each other. Like even if they're not touching, sometimes just that is enough challenge for them, and they're so excited to face their little friend and do this, just facing them is so fun.
Oh, I love that idea.
If we do some like passing, I know there's the thicker version of these, or we refer to them as Maori sticks. They're fat PVC pipe. They're like easier to like pass, pick up. If I'm gonna do something easy like that, I opt for smaller groups so that if there's problems, it's not affecting. If we just do one big circle, there's inevitably going to be a holdup or a problem. So, maybe go for smaller groups rather than one large joint group. You might be more successful. Something else worth mentioning too, since we're talking about all of our tools of the trade, all these different kinds of manipulatives, you purposely pick some of these for like Choose the Ride and Nephi's Courage, like the sticks for strong beat songs. They're, what's another word for this? I guess we just call them the strong songs. Whereas the more gentle songs, like you would never use these for As I Have Loved You. You would never do that. And believe it or not, it gets done. And it's really not quite right. So if you're doing a more gentle or calm song, you're going to want to opt for something like scarves, or shakers are pretty versatile. Shakers can be like, they can kind of go either way, but in terms of the spectrum, yes, these are definitely for the strongest songs. These are definitely for the more gentle, and then the stuff in the middle can do both, but you don't want to be rocking out to Love One Another. It's not right. It doesn't fit the essence, the mood, the feel of the song quite. So
yeah, well, I have seen some ribbon wands used for some pretty upbeat songs, and I think it works really great, especially because the older kids really like to flick and snap the ribbon wands. And so I feel like the ribbon wands actually are pretty versatile too.
They're flowy and snappy. Now, something Charlotte does do with these is this what do we call it? The rhythm stick roll.
Yeah.
Where with older kids you can roll them to partners and they receive it and they pass it behind
the hands.
Yes. And that is that is a calm way to use these, but we're not banging them together to the beat. Like a different tool.
And also with the sticks, if you wanted to just do sliding and like leg taps, I mean, I've done that for some pretty reverent songs. Just slide, tap, 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 slide, not tap, patch, and leg slide, shimmer it together. They can be a lot more gentle if you're not pounding them together. So anyway, that you just be creative with it. What else do we want to talk about, you guys? Is there any more questions?
I saw a comment, a good idea about passing out manipulatives and having all one color together. That's a good idea to save time, especially the junior primary. They get more.
I want pink.
Yeah, we actually store all of the stuff in our closet. We have bins, like all my ribbon wands are in here, all my cups are in here, but they're already in bags. So like I have Ziploc bags of cups in a bin so that I don't have to do that every Sunday.
I have like bags of, I just do Macy's bags because they're so easy, or Ziplocs, but I have them in groups of 10 because most of our classes aren't more than 10 or 12 or whatever, so that the teachers are just passing out one bag to each teacher really fast. And if you train your presidency members, it can go so fast. They know to give them to the teachers. Eventually, by the end of the year, they'll know to get those things. As soon as I'm up there demonstrating what to do, they know, and I usually tell them before, so they know, oh, get those bags of whatever, so they're ready to pass them out, but not till I say, because if they go too early, then it's a train wreck. So when at the appropriate time, they pass them out, and then the teachers know, again, appropriate time, not too soon. And then I do find myself saying, enjoy the color you get, because always but that's a good way to deal with it too. Do all the same colors.
Like that phrase.
You get what you get. Just like when I was a kid. Yeah, Mariah says she puts her bags by the teacher's chairs before they start. I do the same thing. So they're all ready. And sometimes they don't end up under a teacher's chair, but I've noticed that the kids are actually really good at passing out too, and they love it. So it doesn't matter for me.
I never trusted my kids enough to try that.
Really?
So that's very trusting.
Yeah, I don't know. They've always done really well for me. I don't know. And we talked, when was it, yesterday? But Laura had a really good idea. She says that sometimes when you finish a pattern and the spirit's really strong and it's almost time to close, and you don't want to bother with the passing in, which can kind of be chaotic sometimes, is she'll just ask them to reverently put them under their chair, and then she'll end with her testimony, and it's just a really powerful and calm way to close. And then they can help you after the prayer, and then everything goes well. But anyway, and I loved that too, because I'm sure we all do that, but it was just nice to be reminded of that. It was really cool. So
yeah, we were like, I was like crying after the song, and everyone's got their sticks. I'm like, this is gonna be a disaster. Put them under your chairs. So
yeah, I love it. Oh, you guys, this was awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing your ideas. And
don't you wish we could do this like every week before we plan? What are you doing? What's your movement pattern? Oh wait, we have this awesome group.
I know.
We do.
Oh, I love it. I'm so grateful for this.
So thank you to everyone for sharing. Continue to share your ideas. It's like, this is such an important part of my weekly planning, you know, to come on and see what amazing ideas you're coming up with, because we don't have time to do it all, you know. But this hopefully gave you some ideas too, because I also know, you know, there are people going, well, I want to be able to come up with my own, but I don't know what to do. So maybe this kind of gave you an idea of a little bit of the creative process.
Sure. And one thing about coming up with patterns, if you have young children or older children or teenage children, or even a husband who's not super coordinated, or neighbors or nieces and nephews, try your patterns out on them. And that will give you a really good instant feedback about if things are too hard or too easy and things like that. I use my kids all the time, and my husband, because he struggles just a tiny bit with some of my patterns. So I know if he can do it and it's still a little bit hard, but not too hard, then I'm going to get the older kids perfectly. So
here's one good last point maybe we can end on, is that Charla's reminding us that, you know, this is one of the most engaging things you can do when you have every single person in the room doing this together or doing this together or whatever. It's your best chance, because of the movement and the energy involved, it's your best chance to yell freeze. And that, when you have them all, when they're right there with you and everyone's doing the movement, but then they freeze, it's like it's silent and they're with you and you can hear a pin drop. That is your best opportunity for your what are we calling it? 2-sentence testimony, because that is so much easier than once you've gathered the manipulatives and everyone's putting things in bags and there's chaos, then you have to shush everyone to to say your testimony, which is never going to work. So best way is to really plan because this is the most important part. The reason we do this is so that we can testify. The reason we put these structures in place is so that we have a good way to really help testify to the kids to know the truthfulness of the songs. So we get them super engaged, we yell freeze, and that's where we tell them, with this Easter Hosanna song, like, I know Jesus came and I cannot wait for when he comes again. Just something that basic. And then you can finish with the song, and that's fine, but they'll feel it as they're with you in the moment of the freeze. So hopefully that makes sense.
We have to remember to do that. And sometimes you get so caught up in all these activities, and it's so great, but we have to remember to bear our testimony. Write it in your lesson plan. And I write out the sentence, and I might not say that exact thing, but it has to be there. You're exactly right. This is why we're engaging them in these ways, so that we can bear testimony.
Mm-hmm. Yay, you guys are amazing. Next month, we are planning a live with Donna, and she is going to talk to us about directed listening. So that's going to be really cool. We are planning on doing these once a month if we continue to have a good turnout and if people continue to find them helpful. So yay, I'm excited. You guys are great. And thank everyone in this group. I cannot believe how many members we have in this group. It started out so small, just an idea, and it has just grown into something so beautiful and wonderful and helpful. And I'm just grateful for all of you for being here and making it so amazing. So we will let you go, and we will see you all soon.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks all for watching.